Lee Crooks of Castleford and Kevin Ward of St Helens. Big men, big names, new clubs, two careers on a changed course. For 12 years, Kevin Ward was as much a fixture at Castleford as the main stand. Then in the summer, a surprise move to St Helens at the age of 33. And the reward this month, a recall to the Great Britain ranks. A feared and respected opponent at any level, Kevin Ward. And a fallen hero on the up again, Lee Crooks.
Suicide blonde was the color of her hair, like a cheap distraction for a new affair.
A teenage prodigy with Hull, a Great Britain star. But his world record transfer to Leeds turned sour. Distractions grew, his form suffered. Now it's back with Castleford. An international recall could be round the corner for him.
Obviously, I think she'll probably have a lot to prove today, like being left out of the Great Britain squad. And my honest opinion is that you know, he should be in there. Like he's one of the best props going, and he's proved it this form this time. Like so.
Kevin's been there and done it all, and obviously I've got a lot of respect for him. And I think it's going to be a very close battle throughout this test series for who's going to get the top spots.
And here comes St Helens, and let me tell you, they're relieved to have 15 fit men at all. They've had a food poisoning outbreak here, with players dropping out as late as 40 minutes before the kickoff. So the team has wholesale changes. Phil Beavers and Tony Kay replace Gary Connolly and Alan Hunt. Brian McKebby plays his first game since September the 2nd. So more than ever, Saints will need the steadying influence of Shane Cooper, their captain, who thought this morning he was playing loose forward, but now reverts to stand off after the reshuffle. Cas are looking for their first away win. They're next to bottom of the table, 2 places below Saints after 3 unsuccessful trips over the Pennines. For the second game running, Steve Larder and St John Ellis swapped their usual positions, with Ellis at fullback and Larder on the wing. John Joyner returns after several weeks out injured. It'll be interesting to watch Sean Irwin, normally a centre, but today, as last week, he's in the second row. Well, later we see the Australians' final game before the test at Leeds, and the match with Rochdale, which could rocket Featherstone into the top 4, while Martin of Fire announces our competition winner. But we start with Kevin Ward's first game against his old club. In the commentary box, David Watkins and John Helm.
And didn't he look determined? Not difficult to pick out, Kevin Ward and Lee Crooks. It's St Helens' first game for 2 weeks since they were beaten here by the Australians. So their spectators, their fans are keen to see them back in action against Cass, who've done well here in recent years. 2 wins and a draw in their last 4 visits, and there is Lee Crooks straight away, and guess who's got hold of him? Kevin Ward. Stedman's kick, which will go straight downfield to Phil Beavers, who's played regularly in the full-back position, of course, so the late switch for him isn't a problem. But I wonder, David, just how much it might have disrupted St Helens' planning, having to make changes as late as 40 minutes before the kick-off.
Well, it obviously disrupts the planning, but on the other hand, it gives people like Kebby and the loose forward quite an opportunity to come back into the side and give them an opportunity to see exactly what they can do.
St Helens with the ball, and here is that loose forward, Bernard Dwyer. He was due to be in the second row. Generally free-scoring matches when these two meet. And let's hope so again today. It's not to discount the defensive work, of course, on both sides. Now Ian Bragger, who's been running with good purpose in the 18 recently, he's got St John Ellis moving down the right. The tackle good. French along the line, John Joyner, sleight of hand from him. Harney trying to put his man in and just caught by the ankle. Tirapati it was who made the tackle. Lively stuff though from Cass, and here goes Lee Crooks driving on into the 25. Again, Joyner they look to. Can't slip this one out. Stedman. Kick through, and it's picked up for St Helens. Oh, a nice little jink inside as well. So our first look at Sean Devine on scrum down. Groves, the long ball, it could have been dangerous. They try to whip it out for Kebby. He's got a clear run. He's got one come across. He's got past him. He's got past the second. And Kebby did well. There was a roar went up from the crowd when his name was announced. So although they'll miss Les Quirk, he's obviously a bit of a favourite with the locals here at Knowsley Road. Haggerty with that familiar style of his. Gets the pass in as well. Groves there. Shane Cooper. Misses out Ward. Oh, there must be an overlap on that right side. Vivas. Kay's on his outside. Vivas might not need him. At least had a try. Was it a double movement? Or is he still short? He's literally a foot short. Brilliant start though from Saints to say that they've been so ravaged. Haggerty makes it towards the line and he's 5 yards short, held up, last tackle. Rip-roaring stuff from the Saints, that's got the crowd roaring. Now the little kick through is from Cooper and it's a try. Two men might have claimed it, I think it will in fact go to George Mann. Though Mark Bailey was diving for the ball as well. Just the start Saints wanted. Mann's the man to do it.
Well, there's no doubt in the St Helens commitment in going forward, and this little grubber kick through breaks the defence and scores the first points.
Proof, if you needed it, that it was George Mann, and it's number one for him. Sean Devine kicked 9 goals on his debut against Castleford last season. 22 points he collected that day. He's got a chance for his first 2 today now. Yes, just. It crept and crawled over and between. It doesn't matter. 2 points for Devine, 6 for St Helens.
Well, this opportunity from the play of the ball came as Saints Enterprise in play, took them right up to the cast line. Mann goes through from the kick and scores.
Oh, Kebby's lost it, and Cass have their chance now. It'll be Dean Sampson first, and he'll drive on towards the line. He got a hat-trick last season against them. It was at Weldon Road. This is Knowsley Road. Lee Crooks. Keen to put on a big performance, I've no doubt, Crooks today, with Malcolm Reilly choosing his Great Britain squad on Monday for the first test. French, live wire scrum half. I think it's worth making the point that even if you weren't named in Malcolm Reilly's original selection, there is still room. Stedman looking for some room here with Kevin Beardmore. On the last one, well, Saints scored on their last tackle. Can Castleford repeat the feat? The tackle is good. The 6th tackle on Sean Irwin. The Saints line holds. Oh, what a place to spill it. Knock on given. He's come over the Pennines as well. Brian Goltrus, the referee from Bradford. And it's Cassie's ball from the scrum. French spooning it out to Stedman. Involved twice, looking for the long ball out, and it's a good one, and David Plange, he's there. They don't stop David Plange from that distance. And Cass have the immediate reply.
Well, prior to this, Castleford had tried to work their way down the middle. Saints' defence were good to the test, but this time it's a superb runaround by Stedman, and the long ball simply takes out the cover defence, and Plange is left to plunge for the line.
Can Crooks do what Devine did? Far more difficult kick, but he's kicked them for his country as well as his clubs. Hefty boot of Lee Crooks, hoists it. Not quite there. close, but Castleford are still in arrears. He seems to be a bit unlucky to me not to have added to the one Great Britain cap he got against France when he scored at Headingley. Sampson. Whipped along to Grant Anderson. He soon falls to the tackle of Rapati. Stedman, they look to his boot often. Fevers plays a bit of football before he picks it up. What a good club servant he's been since he came over here with Malmaninga. Well, only quarter of an hour gone. Both sides have scored a try. When you think in the last couple of weeks there have been 2 matches in Lancashire which didn't produce a single try, at least we guarantee the one scrum down. Cooper, that's a dangerous one, and Stedman intercepts. He gallops away, and it's a rare sight as an interception try. Stedman thrilled to bits with that one,
though. Despite the good passing of St Helens, they have been prone to throw out balls like that. And Stedman, everly aware for situations like that, picks it up. No one in his sights at all, and canters between the posts.
There it goes, and the Castleford fans behind the sticks are able to applaud. Lee Crooks' first success of the afternoon, and Castleford, having been 6 points behind, are now 10-6 in front. Hardy runs it out. That might just demoralise St Helens a little bit.
Well, I hope not, because they are playing good football. They are moving the ball about, but there has been 1 or 2 of their players reluctant to move forward onto the ball, and when that long ball came out then, it just meant that the Castleford player got to it first.
What an enjoyable encounter. Kevin Beardmore decides to make a few yards himself. Good to see the Great Britain hooker back in the fold. He didn't play in the early weeks. Graham Southernwood had the number 9 shirt. Stedman again. Once more he kicks. This will go straight to Kay. Chuggles with it first. There's a tall, rangy lad, is Tony Kay. Nailed by Plange, and the touch judge has to raise the flag for the first time. I think a boot went in there. Tony Kay is back in rugby league, and doesn't he know it? But referee Goltris doesn't speak to anybody. And Castleford win the ball from the scrum. Stedman, again he's away, Graham Stedman, he's going to get another try. They'll not stop Graham Stedman. What a marvellous little 3-minute spell for the Castleford stand-up half, his second try.
Well, you don't see many tries scored like this. The ball came out from the scrum. Stedman sized it up. They were all waiting for him to pass. He steps inside and scores a superb individual try.
The St Helens fans were booing on the far side. I think they felt that St Helens should have been awarded a penalty just before the scrum. The touch judge had flagged. The referee gave the scrum. Castleford won the ball and got the try. And Stedman has taken over from Lee Crooks, probably because it was a left-footed kick. And that was the right angle for him, and he used it well and converts his own try. And Cass goes 16-6 in front. And we're averaging a point a minute. Good play. Haggerty, yes, that's a terrific run from Roy Haggerty. Still wants to find Sean Devine. Excellent second row play from the Great Britain man. Longest serving player here. on offside against Sampson, and instead of just going for the 2 points, St Helens are keen to run it. Groves, Cooper bringing them on, Rapati, Bailey cutting back inside. Rapati once more, Kebby is in. Brian Kebby gets his first try of the season despite Joyner, despite Ellis, and St Helens are back on the scoreboard.
Well, Saints had set their stall here because they had the option of kicking a penalty under the post. They moved it and kept the ball alive, and that proved to be fruitful as far as they were concerned. Kebby's first try.
Graphically captured on film. So a nice moment for the former rugby union man. Divine to try and convert it. Excellently done. And we're maintaining our point-a-minute average. It's 12-16 after 28 minutes.
Well, a quick tap the ball here. The ball moved out wide. Now, the defence seems to have got it all covered, but the Saints keep the ball alive. Rapati goes back on the outside, slips it to Kebby. Kebby gets into the corner.
Behooves again as George Mann tried to make some ground. Well, the score could finish up at literally anything in this match.
Well, there's been some superb tries, and again the break is made in the Castleford defence, and some people will say quite obviously that the defence isn't what it should be, but there is some good backing up and some very good running off the ball as well as with it.
And look again how they kept that ball moving. It was Mann that time after a bulldozing run from Kevin Ward. Now Divine takes it inside the Cass half. So many good ball players on view today, and so many good runners. He's got support. Ellis did his job at full-back by tackling him. The ball finally goes out, but Roy Haggerty has run with some purpose in this match.
Well, they really are putting the ball forward. The ball is going into the gaps, and this is the good part about it. It's perfect drawing. Look at that Vivas' pass. Puts him on the outside. Now, that's sheer pace that takes him away from the defence. Now, he's looking for an opportunity to pass it. The ball comes up, but it wasn't high enough, and Castleford knocked down.
Beardmore. 4 more tackles. The Cast to try and get their 4th try of the half. Hardy. We saw him in try-scoring action for Sheffield Eagles last season, of course, against Widnes. Now Castleford with Crooks. Slips the ball away nicely. Could have caught them unawares. French nailed by Cooper. Joyner. Wouldn't there are plenty of bodies up here, although Owen loses it. And another chance has gone. So the finishing not quite as steady that time.
Well, both the finishing and St Helens' defence has tightened up quite a bit. They are now marking a man rather than everybody coming into the middle and leaving gaps galore on the outside.
Dwyer to Cooper and to Mann. Like some barnstorming runs, and the crowd loved that as he knocked his man out of the way. Bragger. Only 2 minutes to go. More spirited running from Ward. But, down it goes again. And a penalty once more. It's gone to Castleford. A few puzzled expressions, you might say. Particularly from Paul Groves, who says why.
Well, he was quite right, of course, because Kevin Ward went into the tackle with the ball. He let it go to a man in support. The man didn't get it, and Kevin had it back because it came knocked off a player.
So some thinking and some talking to be done in the dressing room, but I think it's only fair to say they must have been disrupted by those late changes due to the food poisoning. That's the last thing on Graham Stedman's mind. He's got the chance here to put Castleford further in front, and he takes that chance. 18-12 it is, and Stedman says, right, let's keep it calm now for the closing moments of the half. allowed it to hit him in the chest, did Ellis, and that's not a knock-on. It didn't touch the hand. But just time for a general comment, David. It's been an excellent half. Some good, attractive rugby from both sides, good tries, and what more could you want on a Sunday afternoon?
Oh, it's been superb. We've really seen some good running rugby, and people will say, the diehards, that perhaps the defences weren't all they should have been. But I think a lot has to be said for the backing up and the awareness of players to be in the right position at the right time.
And away they go to the dressing rooms, with Castleford having made a good comeback after St Helens had got the opening try. And they were really led by Graham Steadman. So Castleford very happy as they go off. So after the first try from George Mann, back came Cass, a try from David Plant, 2 from Graham Steadman, but then Brian McKebby got 1 for St Helens, but it's Castleford 18, St Helens 12 at half-time. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Knowsley Road. Cass in the lead, 18-12 after a rip-roaring first half. Well, somebody who'd love to be in the action, both for his club and for his country, is down on the touchline with Nick.
Yes, it's Paul Loughlin, injured, of course. What did you make of the first half watching as a spectator?
Well, the Saints have been unlucky there a few times. They should get the ball out wide a bit more, because that's where they're most dangerous.
You'd have fancied yourself to score a try or two, wouldn't you, with a few gaps there?
Well, you know, I can't say that we're not playing, but, you know, I'd like to play today. I mean, there's plenty of gaps out wide. And like I say, if they get the ball out wide, hopefully we can see a few tries.
What's your prediction?
I think Saints will win on top.
You would say that, wouldn't you? When are you going to be fit again?
Hopefully about 3 weeks.
Good. Hope we get to see you back in the action before the end of the Test series anyway. Paul Loughlin, thanks very much indeed. We're just about to get the second half underway. Here's John Hull.
So Castleford will restart from the boot of Graham Steadman, who's got 2 tries to his name already here. This is it, and we're all hoping the second 40 minutes is as good as the first 40. They were terrific. Here's Mark Bailey. Well, during the first half, Cass edged the scrums, 7-4. Kevin Beardmore in good form. Non-1 against the head, though. And the penalties are pretty low count. St Helens conceding just 1 more than Castleford. And they made more errors, 5 more, in fact. Kevin Ward makes his first inroads in the second half and gets the ball away for Beavers. They've not really made any yards from where Ward went down yet. Beavers, the little kick through, and he was blocked by Lee Crooks, and he's picked up by St Helens by Cooper, and now Dwyer. That was enterprising, and so is this. Devine still looking to get his pass away. Good start there, and good refereeing as well, because he looked to see what was on, whether to award a penalty or not. Allowed play to continue, and it helps Saints make another 30 yards, and they'll make more now. Cooper goes into the gap, flings the long ball out. Kay just manages to hold on, keeps himself in play, gives it again to Cooper, to Dwyer, to Loughlin. One of the touch judges is on because there's a right old scrap going on. What a scrap between Mann and Anderson. Well, the touch judges this season have the right to come on, and if they can separate the players, play can actually continue without the referee having to stop it. That one, the referee simply had to intervene on.
Well, it was a pity as well, because St Helens remarkably kept the ball alive. They kept the ball moving, and let's just see what actually happened in the incident. I mean, the ball was being moved out wide. Cooper shows a feint, throws a long ball to the wing, and I believe it's behind the play now when this ball comes back in where some of the real action is taking place. There it is there.
They've been at it all that time. Referee Galtris, I think, is going to award 10 minutes to George Mann and 10 minutes to Grant Anderson. And they go off with an exchange of words. They're still inquiring about one another's health. And I hope they don't have to sit next to one another. The roof might come off. Well, a cooling off period, not a bad thing in rugby league. French. thought of a ball that perhaps wasn't on. And they'll all be remembering Graham Stedman's interception try in the first half now with that sort of a pass. Here is Stedman. Kicking wide, and that might well bounce into touch. No, Phil Vivers gets across. He's played well. Consistent player. Cooper. Divine. The ball to his left wasn't on, the ball to his right is for Rapati. It's taken 3 to get him down. Groves, from acting half-back, he's dangerous. What a spirited run from Paul Groves. Brilliant play from the hooker. That was the form that won him Great Britain honours, took him on the 88 tour in fact, and now there's a roar. They're sensing something on here. St Helens seem to have so many people up. Haggerty, he flicked it back, and French said thanks very much.
Well, that's been one of the problems of St Helens in doing that, but this movement, Groves has really hit top form. He really is a great player in the loose as well as in the middle of the scrum, and really it took everything from David Plange to catch him from behind.
Bad news for St Helens. Paul Forber is defying medical advice to play the game of rugby league, and he's had to be carried off. Another good take by Ellis. He does catch the ball well, and he sets off again, as David said in the first half. He certainly makes tracks towards the opposition line as soon as he's got the ball. He just can't bring him down.
He really is a live wire, and by doing that straight away, it puts all pressure on the defence, because no matter how quickly you run up, if you stop them where they are and not like he does, he really goes into the heart of the defence, takes it all on.
He was held down in the tackle, as referee Galter shows, by Bernard Dwyer. Stedman will have the chance to add 2 points. And 15 for St Helens is Andy Bateman, the Leeds fireman. He can make it 20-12. That's exactly what he does. More points for Stedman.
And an important one, because it steadies it all down and it's taken them further away by the score.
The first points of the half. And in amongst all that, we'd almost forgotten that 2 players were sin-binned, and George Mann and Grant Anderson are prepared to come back on, and they're on speaking terms. It's a good-looking kick by French. It's an excellent kick by French. People forget he actually had a spell over here with Springfield Berra. And back on come Messrs Mann and Anderson. Mann into the pack. Ball into the scrum. Out for St Helens. Cooper. Bailey. And that looked like crossing to me. Obstruction. Penalty for Castleford. Just when St Helens didn't need that.
Well, they certainly couldn't afford that then. I mean, they had 6 play the balls. It might have been better then for Shane Cooper to move the ball out, irrespective of a move they had lined up in that position. As it is now, Graham Stedman has an opportunity to put Cass even further ahead, and of course to bring the game to a slowdown situation.
Stedman here then, aiming to maintain a 100% record, which he does. And 2 more really priceless points for Castleford. We saw Paul Forber carried off a few minutes ago. Well, there we are. It's an ankle injury apparently, so that's good news in a sense for Paul Forber and St Helens. You can see the ice being applied. Well, they still believe they can score tries. Bateman trying to find Kebby, which he did inadvertently. He's got a man Haggerty at his side. Roy Haggerty tries to fend away Ellis. Thought of getting the ball away and thought better of it. Nearly 7,000 fans here today. The next best attendance after the Australian game, but it's Cooper and now it's Kay. Cooper once more. Groves to Cooper. He's got an open line now. and puts the ball down. It's the simplest try of the afternoon. It's gone to the Kiwi Shane Cooper, setting a captain's example.
Well, he's provided so many opportunities for other people with passes just like that it was an ideal opportunity for him this time to go in at the corner himself. A well-deserved try.
He once got 6 in a match against Hull. One for the moment will do, and it's induced a team talk on the Castleford side. What a difficult kick it is for Sean Devone. Ball perfectly upright. Curling in, and curling short. It was not an easy kick. Castleford have a 6-point lead now. Groves, he's had a great second half. Excellent pass as well. Now Tony Kay. Can he mark his return to the side? To almost halfway. Groves again. Kevin Ward is brought on by Devine. Gets the pass away again. Might be chances now for St Helens. They've got people over on that far side. Here goes George Mann. George Mann trying to outstrip the defence. Heavy haul down. I thought if Mann had carried on going, his strength might have got him there.
Well, St Helens moved the ball well. They've taken the defence on here, and the ball, the passing is in one. Ward stands up, 3 men in the tackle, still moves it out. But just look at the timing of the passes. It's that man Cooper again. What a superbly timed pass. George Mann on the burst. Now he really motors, doesn't he, down that wing? St Helens comes across, he times the pass, but didn't draw the man really, the result of which Kebby was pushed in.
Lada's turn to run it, and it might come over to Plants for another tilt down this left touchline. Can Plants get past the 2 lines of defence? Well tackled Beavers once more. He's had 2 great runs, Plants, and found Beavers more than a match. Bragger for Castleford. Switching it right, giving the ball to Ellis. The game really deserves another try, but which way is it going to go? Ellis, spirited running once more. Been so many outstanding individual performances. Long way to the Graham Stedmans. Hat-trick for Stedman, and that surely is going to clinch a Castleford victory.
Well, after all St Helens' efforts down the one side, the ball is moved back. A superb run by St John Ellis before this. But Graham Stedman, that man again, individually might be, but what a try.
He kicked 7 goals against them in March. He's got 3 tries against them today. And his has been a towering performance in terms of point scoring. Should land his 5th goal of the afternoon to accompany the 3 tries. Cass are surely far enough ahead now to say it's our day. I'm sure the tension has been released down by the Castleford bench. Nick is down there.
Well, I think psychology may have played some kind of part in Castleford's triumph this afternoon. John, Mick Morgan, who you see there, just scratching what little hair he's got left. He's been running up and down the touchline like a jack-in-the-box, passing on all the instructions he can to the Castleford players to keep them going through this second half. He's taken some insults. He took 1 or 2 apples thrown at him from the St Helens fans, but he's made sure the instructions from the bench have been relayed to the players. And while you're down with me, let me just tell you that Graham Stedman, before he scored that try, was actually receiving treatment. He's got quite a bad knee injury, but he's playing on. It's obviously not hampering him too much.
He certainly is playing on to good effect. What a marvellous day it's been for him. He is, of course, still the record point scorer at Rydale York, Graham Stedman. This will be the last tackle. If Stedman can add a drop goal, just to round it off completely. Well, he must have heard me. He certainly did hear me. That was right on cue.
Well, what a drop goal that was.
29-16, and the game now is beyond the Saints. Now we've moved into injury time. It's a notable success this for Castleford, and keeps their good run here at Knowsley Road going. They won here in the league last season, although they were beaten here in the Challenge Cup. They've won today, all right, emphatically, by 29 points to 16. Disappointment then for St Helens, but a great team performance by Castleford.
Lee Crooks, terrific individual display from Graham Steadman, but a good team effort as well, I think, to hang on in the second half.
Yeah, I think that the lads showed a lot of commitment, and obviously it's nice to see Graham returning to something like top form. He had a tremendous game last week, and I think his confidence is really buzzing. And as I say, it's a big bonus for the club that Graham's on top form.
And Graham Steadman leads the roll of honour. 3 tries, 5 goals and a drop goal. Against those 3 tries for St Helens, only one of them, though, in the second half from Shane Cooper. Well, David Watkins, man of the match.
My Stone's Better Man of the Match award this afternoon goes to a player who showed great awareness of situations around him, an instinctive player whose individuality allows him to score tries like those he scored today. Graham Steadman. Congratulations, Graham. Cheque for £250 and the trophy.
Lovely, David.
A great win, but also that a great individual performance as well by yourself.
Yeah, we knew we had to come across to St Helens today and travel back over the Pennines with the 2 points, and that's exactly what we've done. His first half performance, his defensive work needs a little bit of tightening up, but the second half we scrambled well and we stuck in there, and we've come away with a well-deserved win.
Well, rumour has it that you weren't so well at half-time. They said you were sick at half-time, but you went out and had a great second-half performance.
Yeah, I usually suffer a bit with nerves and what have you, like everyone does, but that's part and parcel of the game. I'm just pleased with the 2 points, and thanks to the lads.
Well, a great team performance, and more importantly, a great performance for yourself. Congratulations.
I thought all in all, on the day, like, we were the better team, but, you know, the thing is you've got to put points on the board to, you know, to win the game.
How much did it affect you having to change the team at such a late notice because of all the sickness and injury?
Well, obviously a big blow when Alan Hunt and young Connolly were out, like, but obviously we have got, you know, good reserves in depth, like, and we know we could come in and do a good job. So, you know, the team was still, you know, the morale was still there, and the spirit was there, and we know we could go out and go, you know, do a good job, like, but at the end of the day, like, just went against us.
Here are the day's important statistics. Castleford's Kevin Beardmore edged the scrums 12-9, although his opposite number Paul Groves had an outstanding game in the loose. Neither hooker managed to heel against the head. There were 17 penalties in all, 9 went against the home side, 8 against Castleford. But nothing even about the errors. St Helens committed 20, including dropping the ball over the Castleford line. Cass made only 11 mistakes. Now Nick has the day's results and headlines.
Leading the way, Paul Eastwood, 2 tries and 5 goals to keep Hull's 100% record. Darryl Shelford, a hat-trick and the Man of the Match award as Bradford beat Hulkingston Rovers. Ian Smales, another hat-trick, Featherstone crush Rochdale. Jonathan Davis, 2 tries for Widnes, who overpower Wakefield. And Taweri Nickau, York's Man of the Match in their comeback from 16-2 down to beat Halifax. Now to Headingley, where the Australians were playing their last match before the first test at Wembley next Saturday. He's really fired up for the occasion. Steve Malloy's burst there, producing a move from which Gary Schofield sends in John Gallagher, playing his first season of rugby league, to score the first try of the afternoon after just 9 minutes. History was against Leeds. Their last 2 meetings with the Australians led to defeats by 31 points to 4 in 82 and 40 points to 0 in 1986. Any doubts that the Australians were fired up for the occasion disappeared on the quarter hour. Leeds took exception to this tackle on John Gallagher, and a full-scale brawl develops. Richard Gunn there throwing a punch, and certainly some Australian fists flying. The touch judge just about succeeding in keeping Phil Ford and Laurie Daly apart. This all ended with everybody staying on the field. But 7 minutes later, Leeds were further in front. Schofield, who'd made the first try, his kick also makes the second. Roy Powell causing confusion in the Australian defence, and it's Paul Dixon who sweeps in front of John Gallagher to claim the try, which was converted by Simon Irving. Leeds 10 points to 0 in front. 6 minutes later, the Australians hit back. Steve Malloy losing the ball in the tackle, and it's punished severely. Paul Siranen forcing his way over the line. The less savoury aspect of the Australians' game here. Watch the right boot of Magor, number 3, as he gets up there, striking Richard Gunn. And the referee, Ray Tennant, in no doubt that that warranted 10 minutes in the sin bin for Magor. Into the second half, and the Australians drawing level. Siren again, stretching for the line. Leeds claiming that the ball was grounded short of the line. The referee disagrees. And from the replay, you can see it certainly first touches the ground short of the line. The Australians, they will probably argue, his momentum took him over. Either way, Meninga's conversion took Australia in front for the first time in the match by 12 points to 10. In the final quarter, they got further tries. Bob Lindner, first of all. And then Mal Meninga, the skipper, who had a better afternoon with the boot as well. Here's the final try of the afternoon. And Meninga himself, the Australian captain, getting his third conversion out of 4 to make the final score Australia 22, Leeds 10. But Leeds had shown up for the nonsense that it is, the idea that Great Britain have no chance at all in the first test next Saturday.
And with that first test now less than a week away, we asked Castleford's Aussie coach, Daryl van der Velde, to name his Great Britain team and whether or not he felt the Kangaroos can be beaten.
Yeah, I think it is, John, but, it's going to be a hard task. Unfortunately, there's a number of injuries, but, if the players go out there and compete for 80 minutes and maintain the intensity, well, anything can happen. It's a two-horse race, and they're not super beings, but they're a very, very good football side.
We all like to play at picking our own team. Have you done that on Malcolm Reilly's behalf?
Well, I have, John. I think with the players that are available, this would be my selection for the test at Wembley.
Now, if we start at full back, you've gone for Joe Lydon.
Well, I think, against the Aussies, you're going to have a very, very good kicking game, and Lydon has got that. He's probably got one of the best beats in the game, and he's sound defensively, and I think if he is 100% fit, which he must be to be picked, he'd be my choice at fullback.
Obviously, no question about someone like Martin Offiah. What about in the centre, where you've gone for Daryl Powell?
Well, I've gone for Daryl Powell because, once again, he's a very, very strong defender, and against Meninga and Magor, I think you need a very, very robust defender, and Daryl Powell's got some good attacking skills too, so I think he'd be the right choice for that position.
Halfbacks, Tony Myler, Andy Gregory, but Myler says he doesn't want to play.
Well, Tony Myler, I think, John, is the best standoff in the country. He's proved that over a number of years, and unfortunately he's had some injuries, but now he's 100% fit. He should be made play for Great Britain. The Great Britain side needs him. He's got a very, very strong physical presence. He's one of the few players, I believe, that will be able to match it with Laurie Daly, and the precedent's been set in Australia where players like Brett Kenny and Gary Jack have refused to play in Test series, or they've been stopped playing for their club, and while the whole Test series is on. And I think some pressure should be brought to bear on Tony to influence him to play the game, because I think he'd be an asset to the side.
Up front, you've gone for Hull's Carl Harrison. Why?
Well, I think you've got to match the Aussies with physical presence. They're a very, very big, fast, mobile pack. I think Harrison's probably the form prop in the game at present. Unfortunately, Crooks is not playing up to his full potential. Otherwise, I would have probably gone for Crooks at 8 and Harrison at 10. But at 10, I've gone for Platt, and once again, he must be 100% fit because he lacks match fitness, and I'd be a bit concerned about him lasting 80 minutes, but I believe that they're going to pick him, and I think he's a very, very strong defender, and I'd probably go for Platt at 10. In the back rows, I think it's very important that once again you've got large physical presence. The Sirinen and Cartwright are very, very strong runners, and we must match them in the defence in that area. And I think Fairbank, to my mind, he's probably a very, very aggressive player, and they're going to have to be unsettled, and he's probably one bloke I'd definitely push for.
If you were the coach and sending this team out, what would you say to them to go and beat Australia?
Well, first of all, John, they've got to be confident they can beat Australia. The Australian players are got an awesome air about them at present, but they can be beaten. The first thing, I think, we must have a good kicking game. You must break it up by putting chip kicks in, the long kicks. But the most important thing is that I'd tell the players that they must compete for 80 minutes. The intensity must be there for the full 80 minutes. If they compete and put the players on the deck with the ball, they could win the game.
Now today's results from the Stones Bitter Championship. Bradford Northern 26, Hulkingston Rovers 10. Featherstone 38, Rochdale 8. Hull 34, Sheffield 6. St Helens 16, Castleford 29. Wakefield 6, Widnes 16. So, Featherstone, the day's highest scorers. Let's see how they did it. John.
Featherstone were keen to back up last week's shock win at Leeds and made a dream start. Hooker Trevor Clark spinning round and finding himself over the Rochdale Hornets line. Martin Pearson kept up his excellent kicking form with the conversion. 6-0 and Pearson soon on the scoreboard again, a penalty this time. That made it 8-0. but Hornets were off the mark themselves 2 minutes later with Steve Turner's reply. Referees seem keener than ever about holding down in the tackle these days. And watch out now, as the referee adjudges that that's exactly what Jeff Gratian does here. He's committed the sin, according to the referee. So up steps Colin Whitfield. And he lands a monster of a goal from just inside his own half. The only other score in the first 40 minutes was from a move initiated by Derek Fox. The luck certainly went with Fev this time. The ball goes to ground, but picked up again by Pearson, and he finds a way to send in Ian Smales. That's 12-4, and that was the way it stayed until half-time. Made no difference. Pearson was soon landing his third goal at the other end. And within a couple of minutes, the Rochdale line was breached again. Fox, again figuring initially, and Great Britain tourist Ian Smales timing his run onto the pass to perfection. 2 more points coming up for the prolific Pearson. Tries now coming thick and fast, with Fox waving his magic. It's a tap penalty this time that opens the way for Terry Manning to send in substitute Andy Fisher. Pearson had gone to the sin bin by now, along with Bob Grogan, but Derek Fox can pop the goals just as efficiently. It's the turn of Brendan Tutor next, the Kiwi coming into the line at just the right time. Fox again to kick the goal, Rochdale being torn to pieces, and it's 32-4. And it soon became 4 tries in 13 minutes. The best of the lot, this, a long-range effort. Clark and Fox to start with. Chris Bibb applying more pressure. Somehow he kept on going. And when he got his pass away at the end of a good gallop, the eager Smales was backing up yet again to complete a tremendous hat-trick of tries. Fox's goal made it 38-4. But at least the honour of scoring the last try fell to Rochdale. The ball moved along the line to the veteran Tony Humphreys, and some rather tired tackling allowed him to make it to the line and give us a final score of Featherstone 38, Rochdale 8.
And that takes Featherstone up 6 places to 4th. I can hear Peter Fox chuckling from here. Oldham are up 3 to 3rd, but Hull and Widnes still lead the way. Hull Kingston Rovers drop 2 places. Lower down, Castleford's win today lifts them 3 places, just above Wigan of all people. St Helens' defeat leaves them next to bottom, but they, like Wigan, have games in hand. Now Division 2. Barrow 26, Bramley 7. Batley 10, Trafford Borough 2. Chorley 2, Salford 50. Doncaster 29, Huddersfield 20. Hunslet 19, Dewsbury 10. Lee 56, Nottingham 6. Runcorn 12, Fulham 22. Rydale York 18, Halifax 16. Swinton 22, Carlisle 10. Workington 42, Keighley 0. So Salford leapfrog over Halifax and keep their 100% record. Carlisle suffered their first defeat at the hands of Swinton, who overtake them. Rydale York stay 9th despite that fine win over Halifax. Well, time now for the result of our Wembley competition. Remember, we asked you to identify 3 of the current touring Australians. Well, player A turned out to be the former Leeds man, Andrew Ettingshausen. Player B, that was the skipper of the current touring squad, Mal Meninga. And finally, player C, we can reveal him as Dale Shearer. Well, the first of the winning entries out of the hat came from Tony Codner from Walton, near Wakefield. And who better to present the prize of a trip to next Saturday's first test than the man who'll be Great Britain's main hope for tries, Martin of Fire. And Tony and his son Andrew joined him here at the YTV studios. Martin was just getting some encouragement for Wembley by reliving some action from Scrumdown.
Well, congratulations anyway, winning the competition. Here's your tickets, I don't know which is which, look, there's 1 each.
Thanks, thank you.
So what's your names then?
Andrew. Tell me.
No doubt you're like Yorkshire team supporters anyway.
Castleford. Castleford, yeah.
Both Castleford?
Yep.
Well, I don't suppose, you know, Darryl would mind me talking about the fact that I like playing against Cas because I score a few tries. Anyway, so you're looking forward to the game on the weekend, do you?
Can't wait.
So do you think Great Britain have got much of a chance?
I do. No.
Your dad doesn't think we've got much of a chance.
So our congratulations once again to Tony and Andrew. We wish them a great day out next Saturday. Thank you to everyone else who entered, and of course good luck to Martin and Great Britain, whose team will be announced in a few hours' time. Now, because of the test, most clubs have next weekend off, so do we, but we're back in 2 weeks' time with Bradford against Warrington. We leave you with a British hero from last summer's tests in unstoppable form for his club, Graham Stedman. From Knowsley Road, a very good night.
Last two